Night, missile strike fired by Iran forces of within Syria in the direction Israel caused a warned strong answer of Israel's war, targeting Iran war holdings in Syria. With previous February, while Israel says it's shooting downward an Iran hum loaded in explosives, how was startup of Syria, the Israelite Defense Forces include enlarged reciprocal strikes in Syria at Iran targets. Several of such strikes are informed to include annihilated several Iran fighters. Yet before the spot down there had been no Iran retribution. The flash splash in the exchanging of missile strike environment overnight, on the heels of Trump card's output of the collaborative inclusive schedule of activity, hints how Iran has hanging its strategy moderation. If so, the probability how the Iran-Israeli confronting will aggravate increases. In Tehran, CEO Hassan Rouhani alerted Germany, France and the UK, how they include just a really bounded period to rescue the JCPOA. But he is a mild. The Iranians fight in Syria drop by a more than uncompromising team. He's their comrades who include been annihilated in Israelite strikes and their forbearance will include worn out solvent rather than Rouhani's strategy politics. Largest Europe diplomatic corps terror how one day the Trump card's authority leans on Europe business community difficult quite, they won't be capable to pin the economical deficit, thing Rouhani as necessary so he can sail the Iran transactions out of America at household. In brief, the gloves in a capacity Israel-Iran confronting are upcoming away. The issue is was recent overnight the discovery volley, or a mark of which is to go. CEO Emmanuel Macron of France fears the example. His personnel in Paris say he is enterprising for tranquility, he telephone call for de-escalation and he will say on the in the Deutsche Chancellor present. Israelite Defense Secretary Avigdor Lieberman told on Thursday night how largest of Iran's infrastructure facilities in Syria was hit and how he hopes the head of Iran radicalization is above. But indication how which happens following is downward to Iran, he added, if it will rain fall in Israel, down there will be a Bible flooding on the some party. In Damascus, a Hellenic interviewer requested CEO Bashar al-Assad if Syria would be the location for Planet War III. His answer, not, for one cause, since luckily, you include a wisdom management in Russia. Putin, as lot world diplomatic corps include alerted could occur, finds oneself, lack a work world schedule in Syria, galloping a tigress. A greater war in Syria would need a greater war expend of him, thing how would future tension his own extended economics. Newly re-elected, he has lot of policy equity but not a lot of actual cash money to replacement. US and Europe sanctions regime include been consuming a opening in Russia's pouch. The ruble has had a rock trip in latter months. For his environment trip to the Kremlin, Israelite Main Secretary Benjamin Netanyahu is understood to include alerted Putin on strikes on Iran's war holdings within Syria. As Iran is Russia's main friend compliance Assad in force, Moscow is really thoroughly monitoring Israel's each go. For everything cause, Putin emerging readily to see Iran strike, knowledge the tension and destabilizing impact it may include on their association supporting Assad. How Netanyahu, Trump card's largest hot advocate in price dumping the JCPOA, was in Moscow the day up the assault signals lot things, not low the hazardous difficulty of possessing so lot powers at act in such a restricted dispute. But it as well emphasizes the declining U.S. impact in Syria, and the area in general. In Riyadh on environment, Saudi Arab Overseas Secretary Adel Al-Jubeir repeated his nation's warnings on Iran's nuke ambitions. Proverb, we include done it really precise how if Iran acquires nuke ability we will do all we can to do the identical. Following Israel, the Saudis are the largest patron of Trump card's judgment to drag out of the JCPOA. They fears increasing Iran impact in the area, not fair to their puller in Syria and Iraq, but above their southern boundary in Yemen. On environment, Iran-backed Houthi mob, who thrown Yemen's at international level acknowledged by the government of force 4 persons year back, fired length-range ballistics rocket technology in Saudi. One was according to reports shooting downward by a US-made Saudi resist missile cell fair external the Equity Riyadh. In latter months, Houthis include step-up rocket attacks targeting Riyadh. No include gotten via so distant. But forbearance in Riyadh is fleeing slim. The waiting down there is how Trump card's output of the JCPOA could alarm a ramped-up Saudi targeting of Houthi leaders. How Iran would knob its Houthi proxies in the instance is not clear. But world anxiety has been increasing, especially above the history 1 week, as the Saudi-led coalition's airstrikes in Yemen include supposedly hit several citizen targets newly. In hauling out of the Iran nuke transactions, Trump card hinted at the world gain for the area. If I permitted the transactions to stay down, there would quickly be a nuke weapon racing in the Medium East. All would wish their arms prepared by the period Iran had theirs. Time no one anticipated such elevated length-term goals carried out already. Fair 2 days after, largest diplomatic corps hoped the lid could be stored on tensions before all external the White's building could drawing out the following move striker. Down there was no schedule B. He's creature done up on the flight, and no guarantees hardliners don't disrupt the planet's diplomatic corps. Flee means of communication are yet outdoor, but the fog and ensuing consequences of flash dispute may quickly close them downward. Present, he's yet probable, although very unbelievable. How should Trump card solve? He could offer Europe business community cutouts and enable them to go on work in Iran. Later perhaps Iran's moderates can buy more than period and restrain in their hardliners up he's to deceased. But the fact is, entering the JCPOA has ushered in a new era of world relations wherever the sudden and unexpected include a far more opportunity of quickly leading overall feeling and usual public diplomacy.